All right, welcome back, Bulldog fans, and welcome to Bulldog TV and the Coach Adkins Show, where we're here with the man himself, as always, Coach Adkins. Final game of the regular season. Got a big road trip coming up this week. A lot of fans are excited, both Quincy High School fans and, of course, our Bulldog fans. Quincy coming in undefeated. We've only got the one loss. First game of the season, both top of our conference, both have playoff locks. Looking ahead to the playoffs, both teams, but how do you keep the focus on this week and really try to get a road victory to finish off this regular season?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a great challenge for our program. You know, they're ranked, I think, 6th in Class 7A, right, 2 classes above us. I'm happy for our kids. We just got back in the poll rankings. We ranked 10th this week when the rankings came out, 10th in 5A. So that's good. It's good to recognize our kids and what they've accomplished this year. But we certainly have an incredible task ahead of us on Friday night against a very good undefeated Quincy team, like you said, on the road, 3-hour bus trip. To a team who is incredibly dynamic. You know, it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. It's going to be, you know, we've kind of felt like this entire week has been a playoff week of practice. Certainly I feel like it's going to be a playoff type game. But again, at the end of the day, I'm excited for our kids, and they're playing some really good football right now. Again, I feel really good about our game plan on both sides of the ball. And I know our kids. I know our kids are going to go and compete their tails off for 4 quarters, and at the end of the day, you know, hopefully we get to celebrate. But no matter what, we're always going to learn from a win or a loss. And going into, you know, week 10 next week, now that we've already kind of, you know, gotten ourselves a lock, like you had mentioned earlier, this game is going to do so much for us in so many ways. So again, I'm excited for the challenge and the opportunity. I know our kids are as well, and we're going to go to Quincy. We're going to make the long road trip to Quincy, and we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun and try to come out with a W for sure.
Talk about, you know, expand on that a little bit. You've taken that trip now a few times to Quincy. It's a 3-hour trip, as you said, on a bus. What's that look like for the players? Do you, I know in the past you've maybe gotten them out. Kind of explain, walk the viewers through that road trip. When do they start focusing, or do they focus the minute you get on the bus? What's that look like, start to finish?
Yeah, so I'm pretty big on, you know, the business trip aspect. I don't let them talk on the bus from the minute we get on till the minute we get off. That being said, we will get off in Jacksonville. We'll make a pit stop there at Illinois College. Coach DeFrisco has always been great to me throughout my career. And once again, he's going to let us kind of get out there on the field and stretch our feet out and do a little bit of a walkthrough again. Just kind of get us loosened up or whatever before we get back on the bus and finish our trip there. So certainly, yeah, when we get back on the bus, it'll be back to no talking. But again, it's all about the mindset for me, right? It's all about the focus. It's all about being locked in. Again, I tell the kids all the time, this is not a field trip. This is a business trip. When you're on a field trip, absolutely, you can jack around on the bus and talk and whatever, right? On business trips, you don't do that. Again, you know that you have a job to do. You know that you have a task at hand, and you got to make sure that you're well prepared and ready to go for that. You're running through the plays in your mind. You're thinking about the what ifs. You're anticipating the outcome. I tell the kids all the time, visualize perfection in your mind. What does that look like, right? And so we use that bus trip to again try to. I love to use the term some last minute cramming, right? You before a test, you pull out those notes and you look at it one more time, doing that last minute cramming. So that's definitely what kind of how we approach our away bus trips.
Well, it's worked out well for you so far, Coach. You've had some successful trips over to Quincy, hopefully one more coming. Talk about, too, we're talking about the Quincy. They remind me a lot of the Mount Zion in terms of their offensive look. They've got a lot of dynamic players, 2 really big receivers, big in terms of stats, and a superstar running back. Talk about the approach coming in. How are you going to defend that? What kind of weapons do you have to combat their weapons, so to speak?
Superstar is a great word. They are loaded with superstars, and they're huge up front. They're physical. They're nasty. They get off the ball. And all of that being said, Their quarterback is one of the top quarterbacks in the state of Illinois, and obviously he's the head coach's son. So anytime you go home and you're having suppers and still talking about the game plan or what plays you like, that certainly helps. They're a really good ball club. You don't go 8-0 and not be good. Stats, you can look at the stats and it'll show you how talented they are. Again, on the defensive side of the ball as well. Playmakers everywhere, kids flying around, giving you so many different looks, right, that you have to prepare for, where sometimes, within some of the teams that we play in our conference, sometimes we see a lot of base looks. We're not going to see base looks on Friday night with Quincy. They are very multiple in what they do. And again, I couldn't be more excited for our kids in this challenge. Again, our coaching staff has done an incredible job this week since we started preparing for them on Sunday evening, all through the week of practice. We finished it off with a great run through this morning. I really like our chances. Again, we've worked incredibly hard this week. We know what we're supposed to do. Like you mentioned, how we're going to combat those weapons. We got a few tricks up our sleeves, some aces in the hole, so to speak. And again, I know our kids, and I know that they're going to fight as long as they need to. And there's no doubt we're going to give it our best shot for sure.
Well, there's no doubt that games like this are going to prepare you, for the postseason, and that's what everyone's excited about, looking ahead to the postseason. You mentioned something about the coach's kid and having dinner at home. I'm hopeful that you had a pretty lively conversation with your son last night after a big win on the flag football field. He came out roses, of course. His safety play is dynamic as well. So I know there's some great conversations going on at home, but these questions, again, are sponsored by Chad this week. So he likes to throw you a curveball, so I'm about to throw you a curveball here from Chad. So he says, if you're sitting in Deion Sanders, that everybody's talking about Deion right now at the college level. If you're sitting in his seat and you're coaching that Colorado team, what does year 2 look like, and how do you fix the year 1 challenges? Again, sponsored by Chad Collins.
Oh my! Well, Chad, I'm not Deion. I don't think I'll ever be Deion. Again, to be 100% honest with you, I'm pretty focused on the Bulldogs right now and our big task that we have at Quincy, and then certainly kind of looking ahead to maybe some playoff predictions and what that might look like, and again, kind of how can I best prepare our kids, so to speak. Truthfully, I have watched very little college football. I'm a Packers fan, and I watch very little NFL football. We're here doing meetings all day Sunday, so I don't know too much about the Deion and the Colorado Buffaloes situation, other than maybe what I see on Twitter. But at the end of the day, I think that to answer Chad's awesome question, I think that the college game has changed drastically from what it was when I played, certainly to just even a couple years ago. I mean, when you talk about the NIL and the transfer portal, those are two things right there that have absolutely changed the game. And so to answer Chad's question, where does he go into year 2? I think he's going to hit the recruiting trail incredibly hard. I think he's going to have money to be able to throw at kids to come play for him. Coach Lewis is their offensive coordinator. I got to know him when he was at Eastern, working under Dino and those guys that I know really well. And I think he does an incredible job with their offense. Certainly, again, it's year 1 for him, so some of these players aren't necessarily Deion. So when he gets the chance to kind of get his system fully underway, and then certainly his guys in there, I think you're going to see changes. Again, they play in a really tough conference. I would only imagine that it's rather difficult to recruit to Colorado as opposed to why can I go to USC instead. But again, the game has just changed so much. Kids are probably going to want to play for Deion, right? And maybe the connections that he has to get them to the NFL level. So I'm not Deion, and I'll never be Deion, but I just can see, and he's already done it by bringing in Travis and certainly his kid and some other guys with him from Jackson State. That right there, and again, is another factor about how the game has changed, and the kids can just leave and go to Colorado with them, and that's allowed now. So I think we can see that, maybe hire a defensive coordinator. I mean no disrespect, don't even know who his defensive coordinator is, but I know that they've been scoring a lot of points, but I know they've been giving up a lot of points. So again, maybe it's the personnel on that side, maybe it's the scheme, so maybe we can see some changes there. But again, you can only expect that Deion's program is going to grow. Again, what he's done everywhere he's been and who he is, and how he can get kids to play for him. I think you're going to continue to see Colorado on the map, and we're going to continue to see him on College Game Day and all over social media. Again, because of what he's brought to that team, and certainly what he's going to try to continue to do. But Chad, we got to cut these questions out, man. I'm focused on the Bulldogs, buddy.
Well, the fact that we're sitting here talking about Deion on the Coach Adkins show tells you everything you need to know about Deion's marketing skills. Absolute guru when it comes to marketing, if nothing else. But let's focus back. This is the Coach Adkins show. It's not the Prime show. We have a big game this Friday, and then we'll be right back next week for another edition of the Coach Adkins show, and it'll be a playoff version, folks. We'll see you next week.